50, this is Hound Dog 7, over.
Welcome back, fellas, to the last round of the PAV Cup, match 1 of round 3 between TFMC and ROFS tonight. Joining me in the commentary team is Sir Lobster, representing the 6. How are you, mate?
Great, Crispy. How about you?
I'm good, thank you, mate. Now you're all on your lonesome tonight. We were hoping to get Malaki alongside with you, but I think he's at a belly dancing gig in China. Am I right?
Yeah. I heard he was being inaugurated to become the next emperor of China, or whatever it was. Last I heard.
And then joining alongside me as well, I've got 3 of my 11th brothers with me. Odyssey, thanks for coming again, mate. Back on the stream again. How are you?
Surprised I got the call back up, to be honest, but happy to be here and watch a good quality match.
Awesome, mate. Awhalesvagyna, again, no stranger to the stream. How are you?
Yeah, good mate. I'm here to keep the stand up with Odyssey, mate. So great to be back, and yeah, thanks for inviting me back.
Awesome. And a very special guest tonight as well. We may need to put subtitles on for this one. It is, of course, the Flying Pharaoh. How are you, mate?
Oh, I'm good, bro. Just hoping to see a good game. Hoping to see Frank get more than one kill this game.
I'm sure. Unfortunately, we won't be following Frank, but he will be joining us in the post-match interview, so I'm sure he'll let us know how he goes. So we'll run through the streamers tonight. We are missing a couple as it stands at this stage, but hoping that they'll join us later on. We've got Johnny representing TFMC. We've got Dragon Fister, who's just jumped on. He was running a little bit late, so he's just joined in the game. FPR Intoxicated has dropped out on his stream, but if he gets up and going again, we will obviously flick through to him. Motordoc, who is a new recruit for TFMC, so keen to see how he'll go. And then representing ROFS tonight, we've got Gusket, who we followed last week against the 6th. Whispers of Death, who's featured on the podcast before, and the Mighty Mullet, who's streaming for us for the very first time. So boys are just going through their burns now. Hopefully we'll be blessed with a warfare straight away. But what's our predictions tonight, boys? We'll start with you, Odyssey.
Thinking TFMC are gonna really, they're gonna be burning. We know how it is when you get a couple losses. They're really gonna want this victory. I think it's gonna be a tough match. I'm hoping for one of the French maps for him, but I'm expecting maybe a late 3-2 victory for TFMC. I'm going against the grain here, I think, but that's what I'm predicting.
Yeah, interested you say that. I think if it does come down to one of those French maps, it's really going to suit TFMC, and I think they might upset the apple cart there. Obviously, a lot of people are probably quick to rule them off against ROFS, but I think if they do get one of those French maps, it's going to be a very interesting game for sure. What about you, Lobby?
Yeah, I think I have to go the opposite. I know Buddy Forrest will hate it when I say this because he'll listen to this later on. I personally think that the TFMC probably don't have it in them after them couple of losses, and they're probably just trying to rebuild from within. I think it'll probably be a very quick match, 5-0 for ROFS.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, ROFS will likely be looking to bounce back following the loss to you boys last week. Wales, what's your predictions for this one?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this one for the fucking entire week, right? And to be honest with you, in terms of the nature of the PAV Cup, there's a lot on the line for both teams. So ROFS needs a 5-0, I believe, on the ladder to catch up. But TFMC has a lot to prove in a 5-0 as well. So, mate, I've thought about it a lot, and to be honest with you, I'm going to be really quite chicken about this. I can't predict it, but it's going to be 5-0 either way because I think TFMC have got nothing to lose and ROFS have got everything to win for. It's a tricky one, especially here, and I see now it's Purple Heart Lane. Mate, what a map. This is going to be an enjoyable game, I reckon.
Absolutely, and as you say, Purple Heart Lane, a good tank map as well, and we know that TFMC are known for their tank, so very interesting prediction. And finally, just before we get into the game, obviously we have landed on a warfare mode for Purple Heart Lane. Pharaoh, what's your prediction for tonight?
Oh, it's hard because I love TFMC, but so, boys, it's going to be ROFS. I know that TFMC have lost a lot of their heavy hitters and, a lot of their leaders are not playing this game, so I truly believe it will be a 5-0 to ROFS.
Well, let's...
We went for TFMC when they won, boys. Just remember.
Well, let's touch base with our streamers. So TFMC playing as the allies there. We've got Johnny with his rockets out, ready to engage in the first truck they come across, or recon tank. Dragon Fister's making his way up in that transport truck. Motordoc looks like he's getting nodes built straight away. You love to see the new recruits doing that. Gusket will be following him in a tank. And Whispers is also just at HQ at the moment. And finally, Mighty Mullet, I believe, is just spawning on the OP, ready to make that push for mid. So, midpoint here, we've got... what is the midpoint? Carentan Causeway there. So, there's going to be a big, heavy fight on that main road. We see it all the time with the tanks. Wales, as a tanker, what's your what's the best path to take here?
It's one of those tricky ones, eh? Like you could take him head on. It's a foggy map. So yeah, it's obviously the main road is the most important part about this battle between tanks, right? Like you're either going to win or lose there, but it ultimately depends on what the target of the tankers is. So, is the ultimate objective of the tank that's actually pushing onto the point taking out infantry, or the other tank? And that's going to be the difference of the battle of the main road here. It depends entirely on the attitude of the commander and the tankers. That's what it comes down to, in my opinion. If they want if they just want to take out all the infantry and just starve the infantry of just pure access and assist the artillery and the bombardment of it, then so be it. But at the same time, armor is decisive, especially at a midpoint at mid-map on this map. It's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds, in my opinion, in regards to the armor battle, because we're talking about two very different teams with a different approach to armor. And yeah, I reckon it's going to be a cracker on that regard. Infantry-wise, who knows? I'm not going to predict that, mainly because I just die in steel coffins, mate. So yeah, I'm going to leave that over to the professionals.
Well, it looks like ROFS are starting to get a slight foothold on the midpoint there. I'll switch to Johnny's. Stream isn't the clearest, but hopefully it will clear up as we go. It looks like ROFS have got that, starting to get that initial cap. Do you think this map favours one side or the other? Lobby would.
No, I don't think so, because we haven't played Purple Heart. No one's played Purple Heart Lane in so long. We're always playing fucking Kharkov or Foy or bloody Saint Mare. This is the first time I've seen Purple Heart, or probably in 3 weeks. So I don't think it's going to favour anyone here at the moment. I know the Americans do have that slight advantage with the bend in their road for their tanks and whatnot. But yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty even match. And looking at that on Johnny's stream there, something's already bloody gone up on the main road there. So yeah, ROFS might be getting a pretty well foothold on that main road at the moment.
For sure. It's just as Johnny gets taken out there by, not sure what took him out, whether it was a tank or a rocket, but he's back to spawn.
I think one of the amazing aspects about this map in particular is that you've got a very definite combination of very open spaces, but core battle points that actually really matter on each flank. And I would personally expect some amazing flank battles that actually determine the midpoint on this one. Hopefully. But sorry to interrupt you, Odyssey. Back over to you, mate.
No worries at all, brother. That's great insight there. I was just thinking there are certain advantages, in my opinion, both teams' infantry have on this map. One thing playing against TFMC on this map in the past that they're always good at is controlling that main road by getting mines and guys ready to satchel you deep in your own territory. Always a fucking nightmare coming down that main road. If they're able to establish that tonight, the anti-armor ability could potentially be a changer. And then obviously ROFS as well. They're known as great shots at long distances. The MGs and just their single shots. If they're able to take control of these power positions and sort of force TFMC to push in from the flanks in the open field, I reckon they'll be able to hold them off there. So I guess it comes down to which sort of team can impose their will, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is actually one of those unique maps that we actually do have in the game where it's really touch and go with the midpoint cap. Usually we see a little bit of favoritism in terms of speed up the main approach towards the midpoint, especially here in this case, where it's in the middle. Per plant lane, there's not much difference. So from what I can see here, TFMC managed to get the midpoint quite quickly, and yeah, it's up to ROFS to actually take it back. The battles certainly will be on the flanks. This is a flank map. You cannot approach directly.
Absolutely. Just to correct you there, Wales, it was the other way around. ROFS have capped the midpoint there, and TFMC will be capping it back. Hopefully to give us an interesting game. We have just landed a tank view for TFMC. We've got Hacksaw, who's joined us very late. So hopefully we'll see some good tank battles between Hacksaw, Whispers, and Gusket. So we'll keep our eyes peeled for those battles as well. What do you think? What do you make of the game so far, Pharaoh? If you've just lost, obviously from a commander perspective, if you've just lost the midpoint here, what's the next step for TFMC?
Would be to keep control on that main road to make sure that their tanks aren't going to go down the main road to stop your tanks, because if they get through those main roads, for me, that's dangerous, because now they're just looking straight on you and you can't do anything. And to keep that, that side over there where your mouse is, wherever that is, to control that part, because their tanks and vehicles can only come from 3 spots, pretty much. There's only 3 ways you can get in, and that's one way. You need to have control of everywhere, because their points are right behind each other. So they're gonna just be, if they put up a Gary anywhere there, they've got control of the whole map for me.
Yeah, for sure. We can see that on the map there from TFMC, they're dropping supplies in front of ROF's 4th point, ROF's 2nd point. Do you think that's a distraction, or do you? They look very close to me to that 2nd point.
For me, it's if they're capping quick. For me, I'll do that, because if they're capping quick, if your recon is fast enough and reads the map, they can get there and quickly build a garrison. It can be a double cap real quick.
Yeah, we've seen that happen a lot.
Yeah, like if your recon's around and they've taken out the garrison and the ROFs have lost their Gary and they're just about to lose it and they're panicking, that can really get you. Like, panic is a huge thing in this game. You need to have control of your team. Your team needs to be all in the same page. If something goes wrong, they're not panicking.
Yeah, absolutely. We talk about it all the time about not panicking. Lobby, how hard is it to, or how easy is it to stay composed? I guess, you know, if you're somebody that finds it easy or hard to stay composed, what what sort of process do you go through if, you know, it hasn't quite gone your way and you haven't got the mid cap? How do you then approach it?
Oh, look, for me personally, you just got to make a decision. Like, if you know you got to lose that cap, you know, you just pick up your OP, pick up yourself, and go, righto, what are we going to do now to try and get this back? And you just basically reset, and just set yourself a target. Go, righto, we want to try and get to this sector and hold that, and just keep making little targets, little objectives for you, and just keep working on them. Because, you know, every time you make something, even if it's only, you know, let's get across this one sector, and you successfully do it, that's a win for you, and it's going to boost your morale for yourself and for the fellas underneath you.
Yeah, absolutely. Fista's just getting an OP down there, and it looks like they've got eyes on Gusket, who's stationary at the moment, so they might be looking to get a Satty on him at this stage. Looks like Gusket's starting to move off.
Artillery inbound.
Oh fuck! They're right on the OP. Got shot off.
Got a light tank out to the.
Yeah, they're taking Dragon Fist are taking out that OP.
Yeah, that was a good push there. Just got taken with the arty. Gusket's just taken a rocket to the rear. So, and TFMC are just starting to contest the point here, and ROFS are starting to lose, but they are going back and forth between defending it. So maybe a sign of things to come with the TFMC combined push here.
They need to do a
actually.
Bombing run.
I can't really see when they bring up the map, but are you able to see if TFMC have any guys sort of along that main road when they bring up the map next in the red zone? Because I'd be very surprised they didn't have anyone back there with, you know, getting ready with satchels and AT mines. They're known for it on this map.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get a quick view at the map shortly. Let's swap back to see how Motordoc's going on the MG.
I crawled up to it in that creek and with guts.
Yeah, Roger. I'll come fucking respawn come in with you. Fucking get off the fucking point.
Give us a clean tackle. Yeah, man, hang on. And I'll give him an arty mark.
For this map for me, you'd have to do wide flanks. You can't really yeah, it has to be wide flanks. You can't just push straight down the middle, and you can't have close garrisons because it's just such an open field. Anything can see your Garys or your OPs.
Yeah, it's a very open map for sure. But do you still think it's important to have a squad, you know, just holding that front line and pushing down the main road, essentially just being the meat grinder?
Absolutely, you need to keep them busy and focused on the front. I'd still probably have even, you know, like maybe two squads depending on the size of the squad. And armor, like you still need that front line. You're gonna need to keep them busy, otherwise they're gonna be expecting the flanks. And you know, as you said, even though flanks are so important, there is a lot of open ground on those flanks. So you know, if they're not busy, they're gonna be looking out and they're gonna spot you pretty easily.
Yeah, and like for your tanks, you know, your tanks, especially in this map, that main road, keeping control of that main road is a big thing. There's so many there's only like two major ways to get there, but once you're close, you know, you can get stuck, you can get anything. So for me, it's the main road. You get some tanks in there and you push in, might be able to cap it back.
Just keep doing that with the MG, dude, over our heads like that. If you're not killing them, you'll be suppressing them.
We'll have a quick look
Just
at
the
the
grinder option.
The interesting thing about that is, and obviously my opinion goes out the bloody window because I actually call TFMC capping point first. But in terms of the historical perspective on this map, if I may share this, is the battle for Purple Art Lane was actually a battle for the Greater Battle of Carentan. It actually stretched across 2 days. With, I believe, from what I remember, was the 502nd Airborne, might have been the case. And What's actually in the battle memoirs about this battle is that it was literally canal by canal that surrounded the main road down into Carentan, with the Germans, of course, defending Carentan. So anyone who's watched Band of Brothers and whatnot, any battle that led up to Carentan, it was actually the 502nd that actually freed the road for them. So in terms of the actual battle itself that we see here, it's actually quite significant in the actual approach to Carentan. I just thought I'd share that little tidbit.
There you go. Love it. Love it, Wales. Not only are we watching some exciting games, we're learning history as well. Love it.
That's a great little tidbit. I'll tell you what, something that a lot of fellas in here are probably familiar with if you played, Battlefield 1 or 5, which a lot of us, I imagine, have. They got this mode called Grand Operations, which is sort of what you're talking about here, where they'll play through a set of historical maps and events leading on, day by day.
Yeah.
That would be an absolutely amazing mode for this game to play through, Omaha, Utah Beach, and then move on to Purple Heart Lane and then Carentan and whatnot, and have little historical tidbits maybe of just while you're loading in between matches. That'd be great.
And I think, especially for us here down in the southern hemisphere, I don't think we really appreciate just how close these battles were actually historically to each other. So Carentan was actually really quite close to the Normandy coast. It's actually part of the Normandy coast, for example. So Purple Heart Lane, combining them, is actually a monumental battle between. I'm pretty sure it's Utah, might have been Omaha. I'm gonna have to check Wikipedia later on. I apologize if I got it wrong to the viewers. No doubt you'll correct me. But yeah, it is all part of the original campaign that led from the beaches inland. And Carentan was actually one of the key points to get the beachhead. So it wasn't just 100 meters off the landing beaches that counted for the Allies. It was actually a size more inland in Carentan, St. Mary Glees, St. Marie du Mont. They were all key points to actually get the beachhead, quote unquote, established for the Great Invasion of Europe.
100%. If I remember correctly, the Germans also identified Carentan as a key point for them if they wanted to re-establish sort of control of the beaches. Now, I do remember reading this once. It could be off. It's quite a while ago. I read it, and so I believe at one point they actually lodged quite a large counteroffensive on Carentan to try and take it back, but they weren't able to take it, and then obviously they pushed on from there.
And I think you're actually right there. I think Carentan actually played a key part in the fact that a certain leader might have been having a sleep and no one wanted to wake him up. So I think you're quite right there, Odyssey.
That's one of my favourite stories of World War II. Hey, I do remember the operations on Battlefield. I really enjoyed that element. There was talk at one point of something similar coming to Hell Let Loose, and I wonder if they will do it, because I think it would really engage players a lot more. But was you a Battlefield player, Lobby?
No, I didn't get the luxury of growing up with Battlefield. I was always COD until it turned to shit. But yeah, I did try and get back into Battlefield with a few of the boys. We got back on Battlefield 1. Yeah, I reckon it would have been a real good game when it first came out, but same thing, it's just starting to turn too much like COD.
Yeah, for sure.
Look, don't you like hearing a 12-year-old kid telling you how to play in COD?
Oh, it's fucking shit.
It's funny you mention that, Pharaoh, because my son was playing Fortnite today. And,
I know he was.
Yeah, so I finally managed to sort out his voice chat to actually talk to his friends. But there's actually a feature in Fortnite where you can actually listen in, which is, as an adult, I quite appreciate, because all of us know how toxic it can get, and oh my god. So long story short, I restricted the voice chat just to friends only.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, isn't it? I think we've been pretty blessed with this game. There's not too much toxicity, I think, because it doesn't really attract that younger generation. I think all they want to do is just get kills and 360 no scopes and stuff. Whereas there's actually tactics and logistics and things involved with Hell Let Loose, which attracts a more older crowd. So we've been pretty blessed in that way. But there's definitely been a few times I've had a few kids jump on and start mouthing off down the mic.
Look, it's definitely... Go ahead, Wales.
No, yeah. So what I am actually quite happy about, and it might give a bit of pleasure to some of an isolated aspect of our viewers, is that whenever I do actually play Hell Let Loose with a certain group of players, they do hear barking from my kids in the background. So yeah, they're well and truly, although they're not active players, they're well and truly active within the 11th player group, especially the sheep shaggers. So shout out to you, boys.
I'm just mentioning on the sort of player base, as you said, it definitely, there's no doubts about it. It's definitely an older player base in most games, and sort of leads towards a more tactical side as opposed to his reflexes and twitch shooting. But I have noticed recently there has been a sort of a new wave of younger players coming in. They're definitely not the majority, but it's quite probably more. The ratio of younger players probably higher than what it has been previously. We did have a young fella jump in with a few games of us. Trying to give the Germans a taste some of his freedom of his, what do you say? Fucking of his BAR. He was quite enjoying it. I think he's only about 10 years old, the young fella. There are some young blokes getting in amongst it too, and it's good for the future of the game and keeping the player base alive.
Yeah, 100%. Now, just as we approach the hour mark, obviously we're still ROFS are still in control of this midpoint. So, Lobby, having pulled off a massive win over ROFS last week, and congratulations to you. What do you think is key for TFMC now to do the same?
Well, I think the only spot, looking at the maps from both sides, that TFMC is lacking is more this frontline defense on Battery. They don't have many fellas just across the canal there holding that red line. They're mostly on the main road there and out there the other side for ROFS wide flank that they're trying to do. But on the same foot there, ROFS only had a couple of fellas attacking Battery, and the rest of them were on the road defending. Obviously, a pretty heavy attack there from TFMC, but I think they're just going to be watch out TFMC. There was a few squads right out the side there that are definitely probably going to get around and probably try and get in behind and just start sitting on the road. Satchel and tanks will take them out as soon as they're coming out, because looking at the tank, or Hax's tank there, they've been up for a while now, which is good compared to the other couple of games where they've just been probably losing tanks too quick. So yeah, this is actually turning out to be a pretty good game.
Yeah, just as you say that with the tanks, it looks like we've got two of the ROFS tanks, Whispers and I think Gusket, pushing in on the TFMC defensive point now. They've sat there for a little while just observing what's going on, but it looks like they're going to start rolling in together. Yeah,
one of the
just seen
key
a tank here, so we can have a
behind
tank battle on our hands here.
One
hit.
Keep going.
Sorry to cut you off, Wells.
Yeah, just get ready
No,
get ready
you're
to push
right.
forward.
One of the
On my
key
mark
elements
only.
that we're facing here, right, is that we've got two
Forward.
teams. One is defending the midpoint, one is trying to attack it. Now, in People Up Lane, we've got a lot of open ground. We've got some ditches which are somewhat predictable in terms of where the attacks might be coming from. You got the armor aspect where you got open visibility on towards the point.
Tank mark is accurate for the tank.
We've got two teams here, in my experience, where it takes a bit of time to set up for either defense or an attack. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. We're in a bit of a trough in terms of action, but an attack is going to happen one way or another from either side. I'd probably predict within the next 5 minutes. The problem with Purple Heart Lane is it's unforgiving in terms of supply drops, even on a foggy environment like this. You cannot necessarily see them, but you can kind of predict them. So there's going to be recon squads working in the background. You might have advanced squads working in the background. We're seeing right now that Whispers is actually looking behind them, just trying to look what's actually going on. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting how this works out because neither team has got much to lose. Both teams on paper and in theory need a 5-0. So I think right now what we're seeing is a bit of a lull in terms of setting up and seeing what the other team is going to do, but both are setting up for an all-out attack.
For sure. Credit to TFMC here. I've just looked at the map briefly, and they've got two blue zone offensive garrisons up, attacking that main road there. It looks like ROFS have struggled to get some forward-placing garrisons up. So I think that maybe potentially that's why the tanks are a little bit reserved in pushing the 4th point there. So I think if ROFS need to want to push onto this 4th point, they need to get some forward-placing garrisons up. And I think that the garrisons that TFMC have got set up at the moment is actually holding that front line very, very well at this stage.
One thing I did notice last week when ROFS were playing against the 6 now, this could be entirely due to what the 6 were doing as a team, but they did lack at times garrisons and were struggling to get them back up in a timely manner. They were left short quite a few times, and now we know ROFS are a great team, but I'm not sure how much of that was the 6 or how much of that was ROFS and just their style or how they were playing that day. Now, perhaps if TFMC can take out a fair few ROFS garrisons, they may not be getting them up as quick as TFMC may, and that could be an advantage there.
For sure. Now, I think Wales mentioned earlier as well that both teams will be looking for a 5-0 tonight. Pharaoh, as a commander, how tempting is it to go for the 5-0? Obviously you can play it safe and get the 3-2 or the 4-1, but how tempting is it to push for that 5-0 and get the bonus point?
It's really tempting, as you guys know. You hear me all the time in command chat going, "Oh, should we do it? Should we not?" But for me, it's getting that point and then just keeping it. If we get a 5-0, you get a 5-0 or a 3-2. In the day, the points for me, you'd rather your guys go with a win than push all front on. It'll push it all in and try to get a 5-0 and you end up losing 5-0 because you're going real fast. Because for me, like the way I see it and the way I do it sometimes is, when you start pushing your team forward and you push them 2 in, or you're on the last point and you're attacking, all you guys get a bit excited, and then you get to that point where if your leaders and the people in the right positions get a bit excited, thinking we can do this, we're just going to push, you can lose it as fast as you capped it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, agreed.
It certainly carries a degree of risk going for that 5-0, doesn't it?
It does, and like for me, I'd rather go for a 3. If I was TFMC, I'd rather go for a 3-2 win, and just you're happy that we've won, than try to beat them and end up, even if they had won their last game 5-0, and then just to get in, it's still good just to get in there and keep the point and keep attacking. If you get in there and you think, guys, you know what, they're not ready, we've just capped it and we're not ready, maybe, but for me, it depends on the time. You really got to play it. If you got 40 minutes to go and you've capped both points, go for it. But if you've got 20 minutes, keep whatever you got and just hold it.
Now, let's just say this was us, Pharaoh, in this position. Now, something we, probably favour is getting that point and building up, really solidifying that position, just getting, sort of everyone on defence and maybe just only allowing recon to sort of see what they can do behind the lines. And sort of really get our MGs up, just covering all angles and whatnot, really building up those defences on the point, not really worrying too much about offence on the next point. As you said, unless a sort of opportunity pops up. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I'd have maybe like a tiny squad, like I'd maybe send like one small squad up there just to do it.
Those useless fucking squads that we never use, those.
Yeah, but I'd pretty much have everyone back, bro. Like if we cap the point, like me, I'd rather have everyone back and then let those attacking teams just go around and just annoy the other team and try to take out their tanks and whatever you got to do. But the majority will just be defending.
I think
That
I
seems to
think
be
one of the
the go
interesting
tonight.
things
Oh,
about-
sorry, Wales.
No, you're right.
No,
I think one of the interesting things about this map in particular is that it can sway 50-50, but generally speaking across a lot of maps, and this isn't a general rule, but armor plays a massive role. Purple Heart Lane is one of those maps where the armor battles turn into either a separate battle or an all-in-all battle. So what I mean by that is that either you have a tank attacking a point in itself and they've got a free range, and you don't necessarily have a tank countering the attacking tank or the defending tank, or you've got every single tank on the map attacking each other. Now, knowing these two teams, I'm quite surprised in the fact that we haven't actually seen any massive tank battles quite yet. I think it's probably got to do that they're just probing each other out for now. And they're probably just making sure that they're looking after infantry. Later in the game, what I predict is that armor and infantry is going to become a bit of a separate battle, not by much. But they're actually going to start focusing on the fact that, yeah, we need to take that tank out in order to support the infantry. It's going to become a bit of a tight squitch.
Yeah, looking to that, like at the ROFS. So I don't know if any of you other fellas noticed they've swapped up their commanders tonight. They got Wampy in. I think he's mostly their defensive set. So they might be going for more trying to do that 3-2 win rather than trying to risk it all. And because even looking there at the map there of Gaskets, they've still got sector control on their far left, mid and right, and they don't really have much in the back line. So that it just seems to me they've spread right out instead of doing like we've seen in the past. They're just really good on their frontline pushes. It just seems they've just spread out and holding more of the defensive lines.
See, I think
that could become interesting. Sorry.
I think fear plays into this as well. People are scared to take the gamble and going, all right, boys, let's have more squads pushing in, like as in like TFMC or ROFS, because they don't want to lose it because they don't have control. For me, control of a game, and then you can do it. But I feel like it's just a tug of war, and no one knows which way it's going to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's probably one of those maps where you're sort of like, oh, like I'm looking at the maps that they're bringing up, and right now I would not call any favoritism over everyone right now. Like I'm not seeing too much of an offensive push. I'm not seeing too much of an offensive garrison. It's going to be interesting to see how it just kind of plays out. Like, yeah.
I feel brute force, bro. Like for me, it'd be brute force. You just gotta get all your big squads. Or I don't know. We play more like big squads, so we don't really play little ones, and just get all those big squads just pushing in hard and trying to do that. Like we don't really we have maybe like one small squad if that, and the majority of them is just big. It's just push them in there and try to break the front door down.
Well, one of the advantages there is, I mean, you look at the midpoint here, right? You've got a lot of cover either side of the main road. You've got a lot of cover on the other side of the main river, where you'd probably want to get a garrison up. It certainly plays out for very very good main push of, like, I don't know, in my mind, maybe what, 2 squads, 3.
Yeah.
You could go even more, mate. You could go, if you really wanted to, you could go really heavy and do a 4, big 5-6 man squads. Get all your MG fire down there, just keeping their fucking heads down. Get your armor in there, like just try and overwhelm them. I guess it depends, but as Pharaoh said, big fan of that frontline push and the sort of the spearhead.
Yeah, I think when you look at when we played KRC back in the day on this map, they were a renowned, very defensive top team, and it was we just pushed and pushed and pushed the front door, and eventually something gave, and we managed to cap that point and win 3-2. So I definitely think having that heavy offensive pressure on the front line, something's eventually going to crack, and if you can capitalise on that gap, then the point's there for the taking.
Well, it's purely one of those maps where you're just kind of like whoever controls the map. It's a bit like Foy, right? When we saw, who was it? Might have actually been us against ROFS on Foy, I think. I think Malarkey made a comment about who controls the main road will take that sector. Right, and this is one of those maps where you're sort of like looking at main road, and it's critical. Yes, the immediate flanks are very important, and yes, within 4 squares around the point, of course, they are important. Well, what it comes down to is actually putting is suffocating pressure towards the actual point itself. So it will be very interesting to see how TFMC actually try to attack this.
I got a question for Lobster.
Yeah, mate.
All right, if this was you, bro, and you're TFMC and there's 20 minutes to go, or how much time is left? I can't really see it.
We've got
41?
50 minutes to go.
52.
And when would you think it's time to, like, what would you do? Would you put everyone forward and be like, all right, boys, fuck it, let's just go all guns in? Or would you be like, leave it here, we're 2-3 down? What, as you, like, if you had the choice, what would you do?
If this is me, I'd be like, if these fellas can hold on for, say, another half an hour, 40 minutes, I would be going, like, probably more half an hour. If we can hold ROFS out still 3-2 and get some more, attacking Garys up, get a few red zones in, maybe send a couple of fellas in behind just to start probing, and then you gotta have to make a call, like you want to go for the win, or you want to lose 3-2. So I'd be going at least half an hour, then just airhead it, buddy, whatever you can, all in attack. And then just run the gauntlet. It'll either work or it won't. You'll get bloody pushed off it, and you have to go back to defend.
And would you stop there, like, it would, like 20 minutes to go or whatever? Would you just be like, boy, 3-2 win, leave it at here? Or would you go like, let's just keep on pushing?
Nah, I'd fucking with that time left, I'd just hold. You'd cap the point, because it's going to take you another 5 to 10 minutes to really lock it down. So realistically, you might only have 5 minutes left. So what's the point? Like, it's pretty easy to roll everything up for 5 minutes and just sit in the 4 sectors and take 3, because realistically, a win's a win.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
The interesting thing about this particular matchup, well, I mean, so far we haven't had any game that hasn't been a 5-0, which has made for some really a really competitive final round. So TFMC are going to be aware, although TFMC aren't necessarily in it to win it anymore. They can play a vital role in potentially stopping ROFS from taking the top spot and sharing the top spot with the 6 at the moment. Because if they can hold ROFS to a 3-2 or a 4-1, they prevent ROFS getting that bonus point. And it'll be interesting to see whether ROFS get blindsided by trying to push for that extra bonus point to get to the top of the ladder, and then leaving themselves open and TFMC capitalising on it. So I think we said it earlier, TFMC have nothing to lose, and I think they're just going to throw everything at ROFS, and it's ROFS could come unstuck if they're not careful here.
Or they could or they just sitting there going, boys, we're just going to go and let them not win it. Like, to be honest, that's like a win too. If you know that you're not going to make it up there, and you're like, you know what, let's just lose a game but win it in a way, and we've made the other team not win it. Like, that kind of the same thing is.
All I'm going to say is,
I would do that.
All I'm going to say is, just remember what I said at the start of the match: a late 3-2 win for TFMC. They're going to cap it within the last 10 minutes, I reckon.
It could be calling you Mystic Odyssey as well as Mystic Frank, because Frank has a way of predicting these things, and who knows? Maybe Odyssey's following suit.
Look, and to be quite honest now, because never thought about it, and seeing how TFMC are playing, I'm changing my mind here and hoping. It's more. Even if TFMC don't get the win here, gotta hope you fellas can hold them to for even 4-1, 3-2, whatever. That'll make us feel a lot better coming into our game tomorrow night.
There's a couple of times we're seeing ROFS just teasing the point here, but TFMC are defending. It's flashed a couple of times, but we'll see if they can get any momentum going forward. They have got a little bit of a more forward-facing Gary going, so hopefully that's given them some options to spawn off, but let's see what TFMC can do to defend that point.
You see, one of the dangers of this map is actually the fact that you can get squads that push behind the line and actually get double drops in positions that you don't actually anticipate, right? Mainly because the map is so entirely wide and there's not necessarily so much restriction within the map itself.
As we're saying that now, sorry to cut you off, Wales.
There you go.
ROFS is pushing pretty hard into the battery now.
Yeah, the reinforce is down, and there doesn't look to be a lot of TFMC defence on the point at this stage. They've got some good garrisons around, but there's not a lot of them on the point at this stage. So I think ROFS, if they can keep this momentum, are gonna snatch this point away from them.
Well, let's hope not. I just poured a new drink, so...
Same. Slow it.
Gonna have to if that happens.
We might just listen into command chat a little bit and see what's happening here.
Boys, I'm going to creep us forward. Can you look right?
Looks like they're starting to defend.
I've got gun about 1, 2 o'clock. I'm going to get a little bit forward, then I'm going to have a truck Australian reverse just in case.
2 sets of nades down, boys.
Stop.
Even with ROFS have been in behind there, taking down those vital nodes. But yeah, it looks like they're defending well.
Yeah, great recovery from TFMC there. They just teased the point on the midpoint as well. So, and there's not a big offensive push from TFMC. So it looks like ROFS don't have hardly anybody in the point at this stage. So if TFMC can quickly recover and get straight back on the attack, they could catch ROFS off guard here.
Have we by any chance got a view of one of the ROFS players?
Yes, sorry, we do. I have neglected him. Sorry, Mullet. You've been right at the bottom of the list. I have unfortunately neglected him. I'm jealous. I want to see the tank battles, but yeah, Mullet is doing God's work with the MG here, just mowing TFMC boys down. I believe he's on the defensive point.
You see, even on that defensive point, it's only 2-1 ROFS way. So yeah, realistically, they do not have that many fellas on that point as well. So yeah, 100% right. If TFMC can compose themselves and get a few fellas back on offensive there, they might be able to surprise ROFS here.
Yeah, for sure. They just dropped down to 1-on-1, and it's contested on the point again now. So yeah, TFMC needs to capitalise on this and start to pour some pressure in. Frank needs to bring his boom bag in and clear the point out and let the boys push in.
Just having a look at this situation we've got going on here with sort of the MGs covering the open ground and sort of the sector control they've got going on. Even if they've got guys out in the sectors on the flanks. You'd be looking at some sort of game changer or asymmetric advantage here. Pharaoh, would you potentially get maybe a recon team to help with the assault, with taking out the MGs and whatnot, to sort of give you some sort of edge?
I would, but it's hard because if your recon's behind stopping Artie, and then you pull him back, then Artie's back and you're kind of in trouble. But I would like. It'd be more you'd have to get your tanks in. Like, your tanks would have to push straight down the middle, and that's what I would do, is get those tanks in and push in and maybe get your spotters in behind, trying to just annoy them. But it's really
See,
yeah.
I'm a bit different to you there. This is me. I'd be going getting couple of squads, get a couple AT guns up, one on one side of the map, one on the other side, and just start peppering that pump point with AT guns because you can get some pretty good spots out there, especially around aid station out the side there that you can sling it into that point pretty easily. Just get these guys getting their head down, thinking what the fuck's going on, and you can nearly waltz in the front door. But you just need to utilise that a bit more because it's going to take a lot of effort for even a tank to go, righto, where's this bloody AT gun while they're worried about a 76 coming down the road and taking them out. So I'd love to see them if they utilise that a bit more. But, yeah, that's something I'd totally do to ease up the pressure on that point.
Yeah, I'd actually agree with you on Lobster. AT guns on this map, probably quite underestimated. And you can actually hide them quite well as well. Once you get the aspects right, they can be highly effective.
At this stage of the stream, unfortunately, I lost connection from everything and everyone. It did happen a second time. We were able to get it back up and running for a brief moment, but I thought I'd do a quick voiceover to explain why ROFS go from controlling the third point to capping the fourth point in a matter of seconds. Unfortunately, we did miss that cap, but luckily enough for us, the stream wasn't completely over and we did manage to recover it somewhat. So apologies again for the viewers that missed this, but my internet just decided to completely shit itself. Yeah, ROFS have just capped the fourth point there, so apologies, boys, we did miss all that because my internet decided to fucking shit the bed. But yeah,
as we've seen,
40 minutes to go, and ROFS are in control 4-1 at this stage.
Once that fourth point gets capped, it's sort of, as we've seen, it usually leads to a collapse. I mean, it has every time. It looked like it could be a 5-0 victory for ROFS. Let's hope not. I'd like to see a competitive match that lasts a full length, personally. A nice 3-2 either way. But yeah, it's going to be hard for him to sort of bounce back.
See,
I don't even.
Sorry, go Lobster.
I was about to say I don't even think so. They've got they don't have any Gary set up around that last point there, TFMC at this stage. So they're only relying on that HQ as we see Johnny get smacked off his OP, poor bloke. It's could be a bit of trouble for TFMC.
Yeah,
I think one of the important aspects around about the fourth point being kept for ROFS here is the psychological aspect for TFMC, right? Because within a warfare mode, you might be losing nodes. You can't necessarily get garrisons up. There's a lot going against you psychologically, and that's probably one of the biggest concerns that you want to be watching out for is how the squad is actually keeping up. Is once you lose that fourth point, or in this case, TFMC's second point, how do you actually recover? How do you actually get the squad together to actually get their senses together and actually push together and regain that territory, which I think we can all agree is actually very, very, very hard to get the game back. It takes a lot to actually fucking grind out. It takes a lot of planning. It takes a very competent commander to do it. If you lose that fourth point, it's hard.
I'll disagree with you, boys. Like, for me, I think TFMC can cover back real quick because you got to remember if they get their points are right behind each other, literally behind each other. You can just push up most of your squads up now, and if they have to turn around, they turn around. It takes 10 seconds. They're not spread out to the other side of the map. Like, this for me would be would be the best thing, like the best maps, like points you'd want to have.
I think I'll ask this for you, Pharaoh, because you're a commander. I know armor is generally the priority, but do you think that on average there's an underutilization of half tracks? in the console competitive scene. I've noticed that they do get used a fair bit in the PC comp scene. In not in massive amounts or anything, but it seems like we rarely use them if at all. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, they are. I don't really use them. I don't think I've ever used one in a clan battle, to be honest. I think a lot of people put an emphasis into tanks, where they want tanks and more they would love to have. I know for me, I'd like to have heavies on the field and tanks always up there because one tank could take out 20 guys.
But you don't think if your tanks have a moment of, let's say, dominance where you've cleared one of their tanks and you got 3 versus 2 up at the moment, and you may have the ability to get a half track up, considering their ability to lock one out, you have to be within, I think it's like 10 meters, some ridiculous fucking radius, and the fact that you have to take it out with some sort of explosive, you don't think that's something that may be worth investing in?
It depends on the map. Like, majority of maps having a half track, it's seen from a mile away or heard from a mile away because there's like bells that fly around with it. And it really...
Well, defensively, I guess I'd say, if you set it up on one of your points, because it doesn't go towards your total garrison amount, it's got that, it's very hard to lock out. You turn off the engine, it's got an MG there, worst comes to worst. Defensively, I guess you'd use it mostly, or you could use it offensively if, let's say, you cleared the point, fucking ram the cunt right in the middle and see how it goes. Bit risky, but...
It's something I would try to do, and you know that. Something stupid I want to do, and you go, right, don't do that. Don't do that.
Tell us all how you feel, Odyssey.
I love that.
Odyssey.
Chuck the cunt straight in the middle.
Gonna.
Odyssey, if I ever do it, bro, you can be the guy that drives it.
Have you seen me drive? I think it'll be better as a gunner.
I have seen you drive, and I remember that.
I think from a tanker's perspective, especially when you go down, you kind of try and weigh up what's the benefit to the greater clan, right? Like a half track ain't cheap in terms of fuel. Does it have its merits? Personally, I think it does. But it comes down to the map. Map like this, personally, I wouldn't be gunning for it myself. But on the other hand, you've also got a lot of, I believe, what they call the bocage, intermittently, where you can actually hold it behind. So for me personally, is it worth the sacrifice as a tanker? Man, if it helps the team, yes. If you have someone just fucking driving it out into the middle of nowhere, personally, no. I think with the half track, it's a tactical decision, and the only person who should be driving it should probably be. I'd probably say your main defensive squad leader or the offensive squad leader. The commander should stay out of it.
Lobster, what about you, bro? Same question to you.
The map dependent. So, for instance, Perkin or Hill 400, I'd take a half track. I would dump it in the next point. So, say for instance, you're free, then you got to get up to Jacob's Barn. I'd have it just off Jacob's Barn, just park there. So as soon as if we cap Siegfried, say we're 3-2 down, well then you can just jump straight. You can have fellas already in the redeploy, wait on into that half track, straight off it, straight onto Jacob's Barn for a surprise attack. That's how I'd utilise it. It would never be in the blue zone. It'd always be ready just for that preemptive attack on the next point, which I've learned off other commanders and whatnot, and it's always paid off. And that's realistically the only time I've ever used them.
See, I remember a game a long time ago versus TFMC, and they actually did that against us. So it was a clan battle or training. I'm not 100% sure which one it was. But we were. I was commander, and I was not understanding how they got there so quick. I was like, their recon was getting behind us, and building garrisons like real quick. So I think we're on their last point, and all of a sudden they capped up to our last point, and I never understood why. And when I spoke to Forrest or one of the guys, they actually said, "Nah, bro, we just drove half tracks behind you. We had 3 half tracks behind every single point." So, like, and we weren't ready. We were just looking forwards because we're like, they're not ready yet. They would have just built a go, but they were ready to attack. And it was actually, it actually does work.
We do have a slight delay on some of these streams as well, so there are a couple of them that are a couple of minutes apart. Good old Geelong internet has completely shit the bed, so apologies, boys. It's not going to be the smoothest of videos, but I'll do my best to try and keep up with it as we go.
Now, what's quite impressive here, though, is that normally when you're kind of squashed in towards your last point, typically you could be talking about 5-10 minutes before things crumble apart, right? Especially once you get the initial cap coming on and the last point is locked out, the pressure really comes on, right? You could have garrisons anywhere, doesn't matter, the pressure comes on. Now, we haven't seen that yet. It's been about, roughly about 5-10 minutes. ROFS seems quite content with holding them here. They're not pushing them too hard.
We've seen ROFS in the past take their time and really wait until they're ready for that final push. They've still got, around half an hour or so left of this game, so I think there's an element of them knowing that they've got time on their side, and then they'll push when they're ready. But the TFMC boys need to just defend hard here, try and get some offensive pressure to slow that ROFS attack down, and see if they can flip it on its head.
Now, what do you boys reckon? Would you say in this situation, if you were TFMC, obviously they're defending the point, they've got the front line going, they're trying to push into the red zone. As a commander or just as a team in general, would you be asking for probably an airhead, like artillery on the point, on the next point, to keep them busy, keep their heads down, hopefully maybe some recon and infantry pushing in from a flank or the front or something, and then an airhead to pop in behind them with maybe some smoke as cover? Or what would you be doing? Let's go with you, Crispy.
Sorry, mate. I was trying to sort the stream out. So, what was the question again?
I think Crispy's internet's fucked.
It's really fucked. I'm sorry.
So good. Did you hear that, Wales? I might just jump to Wales if you heard that. No, Wales not there. All right, Pharaoh, how about you?
No one wants to.
Lobster than me.
No one wants to answer your Odyssey.
All right, Lobster. Did you hear my question?
Yeah, look, if I was TFMC here, I don't think they're going to get that initial attack, and even if they put an airhead in, the blue zone for ROFS is too close to their defensive point. So if anything, I'd try and get a squad and at least a small squad. Try and get a double drop in. Do a quick buddy dynamics.
And just as Lobby was in the middle of answering Odyssey there, my internet did decide to shit the bed again. So this was the second time we dropped out. Apologies for that one, but we did manage to get it back up and running and get just in time for the end of the game. So once again, apologies to the viewers for the jumping around in the timeline here, but fortunately I just couldn't control what the internet was doing at this stage.
Before it fucking dropped out, our 11th approach would just be fucking our big 5-6 man squads getting MG fire down, focus on that front line assault. Just seeing if we can fucking break them, really, get our tanks in. Our artillery, hopefully our artillery's up and we're defending them, because we know Artie Monkey and Deadly Dash are fucking, they're arguably the best, Shanna, in terms of artillery. They're fucking absolute weapons. So hopefully relying on that, getting our recon in to do some damage. And then if we can maybe get one of our squads in, our 5 or 6 man in with maybe a Jeep or something, and and then fucking hopefully just keep them distracted and get that front line going. That's your sus.
So my question to everyone here is, so a Lobster first, right? So
Sorry, Pharaoh, just to cut you off, mate. I think ROFS are going to cap the point here. There's looks like they could be getting the 5-0. There's they're pretty much just over 2/3 of the way capped.
Oh.
And it looks like it's going to be a 5-0 to ROFS on this one. They've called in the GG already. Unlucky to the TFMC boys. Cool. And a good win, a good bounce back for ROFS there.
Maybe not. They're capping it back. No, they're not.
Imagine.
Nah, I think that's it. That's all she wrote.
Oh, Frankie's already joined. It's still going on in our screen. Fuck.
Well, there we go. 5-0
Welcome
to
in, Frankie.
ROFS on that one. Frank, thanks for joining us, mate. You'll be pleased to know I missed most of that match because my fucking internet absolutely shit the bed. So tell us how it went, how you boys went. We saw you boys defending for quite some time, for around half an hour. You looked like you had some good forward garrisons on Carentan. What was happening there?
G'day, fellas. How are ya? Did you stop streaming, or did you guys get to keep going? Or
yeah, we got to keep going. I dropped out probably two or three times. The streams, again, this was not on the streamer's fault. It was all mine, my internet. So they weren't super clear. So I don't know what it's going to turn out like. But we managed to catch some footage. So hopefully, it's entertaining enough for those that are going to watch it later on.
I'm going to change tact because we haven't done enough of this during it all. I'm going to say just fucking massive congratulations to ROFS. Like, we haven't had enough of that. Like, I was thinking on my little holiday, every time we interview people after the match, it's like, oh, what did your team do? What do you think about your team? And like, fair enough, that's important. But I just want to say to all the ROFS boys that are listening to this, no matter what you see in the video, congrats on a fucking awesome match. Sector control was absolutely superb. I think, despite all the effort that we were doing, and I was in an attacking squad, we went a bit old school today, and we even had defensive squads and all that. We abandoned some things that we usually do and just tried to go old school. And mate, ROFS fucking hats off. Like, that was just a sick match. That's exactly what I want from the PAV, and I don't think we say it enough, which is what the PAV's meant to be about. It's not meant to be about who's better and all of that stuff. And I know that sounds rich coming from the bloke that fucking just lost the match, but like, just hats off. That was a fucking fun match, and hats off to all the teams that we've played, like 6th and 11th, and all of yous. Like, just sector control there. Every time we were trying to push up to try and get midpoint, and then try to get that second point there, I got killed 5 times by some bloke named Fidel Castro. So shout out to you for making my life hell. And there was a bloke there named Genghis as well, who I think was on a machine gun. And like, we were having a bit of a laugh, like machine gun, like Hilsey says engineer is low IQ. Machine gun is even lower IQ, I tell you what. And I fully appreciate the role though, like just laying down suppressive fire and making life fucking hell. We couldn't get off our point sometimes. So yeah, I'm going to change tact a little bit, boys, and just say massive respect to ROFS. And it's a celebration of the Pavy, no matter what gets shown. It was a fun match. I had fun. I had to get away and get some time, but I'm happy to be back. Hell, let loose is fucking sick, and who cares? We had a loss, but fuck ROFS. Like, mate, go on and take that energy after a loss last week, a loss that maybe you didn't expect, and be proud of yourselves. That was really good fun. I don't know. Is that enough, boys? Can I finish with that?
No, look, Frank, Frank,
if you're going to be talking about machine gunners, try the hard job of actually hiding behind a sort of 1 inch of steel and being on a coax. That's the true work.
Is that Whale? Is Whale on the podcast?
He made it.
Oh, of course I am.
Yeah, no, mate. No, honestly, just want to say hats off to Ross, and yeah, I'll hand it back to you, boys. It was a fucking sick match. It was lots of fun, and I hope the Ross boys enjoyed themselves as well.
Yeah.
Now, look, Frankie, I'm very, very impressed with TFMC. I'll be quite honest, I rate you off the dead. but something had changed, and as you said, you went back to some of your old roots, and that showed. Yeah, buddy, absolutely outstanding, buddy. Defense there. You've had pretty good sector control looking at the maps, as well as Rolf. So wherever they had fellas, you had fellas. Pretty much the whole game, and obviously when they were capping, we couldn't quite see because Crispy's fucking internet. So weren't sure how they managed to walk in, but yeah, look, it was it. I have to commend yourselves and Forrest, and I'll send him a message later on. But like, fucking, that was totally unexpected, and I'm fucking glad he's found your rhythm again. And fucking yeah, it's gonna be awesome coming up against you.
I've got a quick question for you, Frankie. So first off, congrats to ROFS for the win. Fucking phenomenal win, you know. I think TFMC, even though they didn't get the result, showed up play today and did put in a good performance. They wouldn't have been easy to beat for any team. So well done to ROFS. Now, this is just based off past experiences from quite a while ago playing against TFMC on Purple Heart Lane. One thing that I know you used to do quite a lot on this particular map, you would have a lot of AT inside the red zone with AT mines and, you know, your SATI freaks that you got inside TFMC and just being a fucking nuisance along that main road. It did seem like there was a lack of that today. Now, is that just, am I just looking too much into things, or was there an attempt to try and get that going, or what sort of, yeah, do you have any info on that?
No, you're right. I was a fucking pest with the boom bag tonight, but it wasn't so much concentrated on that main road. I guess it was the way that the map layout came. Once they took that midpoint, Oddie, like, we couldn't really focus a lot of our strength down the main road as much as you'd want to, because I know you're the same as me. You like to get on the front foot. But once they'd established their footing on the midpoint, there's just so much pressure coming on to the point that we were defending out there on the right-hand side, or right-hand side for us. Don't know what it was for you. So instead, we had AT guns firing, and I'll try and put it in my video. Thank God I pressed record. We had AT guns kind of focused more out on the right-hand side of the map. We took a few of their tanks down, which was a good win for us. So we put it more there. I got a couple of boom bags sort of up on the right hand side for us, closer to the midpoint, and took out some of their. They sort of, I don't know if it's right, but I think they had some machine gun nests out there over sort of on Overwatch that was allowing their infantry to pour in. I'd love to see a defensive perspective from us and see how much of their infantry was getting through. So yeah, I guess we focused more there, and we did get the AT up, and we did have boys dropping down. I don't know if you had Motordoc streaming, but I had a good chat to him yesterday when I was getting ready to come home, just about how to run engineer, and he got a pretty good combat score too. So I think we did have that presence, but it wasn't on that main road, man, which Purple Heart Lane, like I guess you guys have probably been saying, it's so important to get a presence there. But we couldn't get a foot in. So again, that's hats off to ROFS, because they maintain that sector control. But yeah, I think that's kind of what happened. We did try to play to our strengths with the boom bags and the fucking AT guns, but we just couldn't get there, Oddie.
Me again, boys. So if the internet wasn't enough to make me look like a dickhead, then this next trick certainly is. After conducting the post-match interview with the TFMC and ROFS boys, I went to ask the ROFS boys a question and completely forgot to unmute my mic in OBS, so it's going to sound like they were talking to themselves. I think from memory, I asked Wampy what was happening when they were trying to cap the 4th point, just because we could see that there seemed to be a struggle in getting a forward blue zone garrison up. So this was Wampy's response, and then I'll try and remember what I asked the TFMC boys and voice over once he's finished answering.
It was Murky that was our commander. Oh yeah, no, you're right. I won't take that shine from him. So no, yeah. So I think the first struggles was pushing out to that blue line was all the satchels going off. I think I have Frankie to thank for that one. The man just puts them on anything. Yeah, so it was just basically breaking through that river section along that blue line. And then once we were able to pass that and move up to that building junction just after the bridge, we were able to get in there and get their garrison down, and that's when we started making some legs.
I then asked the TFMC boys if they were aware that ROFS didn't have anybody or hardly anybody back on Carentown Causeway when they'd started to contest the 4th point, and a little more extra pressure from TFMC could have quite easily flipped the game on its head and turned the game 3-2 in TFMC's favour. So this was Johnny's response and Hax's response.
Listen, my internet's also not having a fun time. I didn't catch half the question. What I will say is, while I've got the floor, GG ROFS boys, you guys played a hell of a match. But also just a shout out to the TFMC boys, because a lot of them showed up to play today, and I think it was evident in our defensive effort to hold you guys out for the best part of an hour. But yeah, great game against you guys as always. Thanks very much.
Hey, I was going to say, throw that question to Hax, because he was in the tank, so he could probably give a perspective there.
No, I wasn't. Didn't know what was going on, really. At the end, I'm not sure if you're listening into my stream, I was literally cramping up from cricket. I'd literally finished, raced home, and I was about 20 minutes late to the game, so I got in just in time for the game. But yeah, hats off to Ross. I think Rum was my nemesis. He absolutely railed me or something like that. I don't know.
How many runs did you score today, mate?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, not enough.
So you're basically at slips, right?
Nah. I filled on the boundary, mate. I did the good old Frankies, just some dirty slogs to Cow Corner for the day.
Nice.
Hey, how did the ROFS boys go? What do you reckon, boys? Rummy, how did you go? How did you perceive the match?
I'm going to let Tank and Heels take the floor here. It's his thing. Go for it, Tank.
Hey, boys. Congrats to TFMC. That was a fucking really tough match, and I know you looked at your numbers at the start, and I was really worried for you. But then a lot of you guys came in, and then I think did you end up having a full set, or did you still fill with a couple extra?
We had some blueberries in there, man, but that doesn't mean shit.
Awesome.
You guys played awesome, so yeah.
It was impressive how long that 4th point it took for us to be able to get it, and I know that Rum was on the front door there, and so were a couple of the other guys in that sort of offensive flex squad, just pushing that front door, the meat grinder as we call it, and they didn't give up, not once, and it took a long time, but they finally got it done. And I know that Murky was a bit sneaky with some trying to get some airheads and some flanking garrisons up, but ultimately, for me, it's about that consistent effort of our offensive flex squads to be able to push that front door. And it's a tiresome thing because they're dying over and over and over again, and they got it done. And I'm really, really proud of the boys for that effort.
Oh, and even your defensive squads, like we got in behind you at one point when you took the 4th. We got in sneakily behind and thought, yeah, all right, we can win this back pretty easy. Your boys in defense were just fucking all over it. So, like Johnny and Hax, I think are echoing me here. Like, just massive congratulations to you boys. It was such a fun match, coming up against such an organised unit. And like I said to Lobby, like we did go back and we did do a few things, which is probably why we held you off for as long as we did. But no, I can't wait to see you boys kick ass in Summit this season. It was an awesome time. Thank you.
No, well said, boys. I've had an absolute nightmare. I just realised that my mic, but when I was asking those questions, my mic was on mute on OBS, so it's going to sound like Wompy's talking to himself and Max is talking to himself. So, boys, just when I thought I couldn't fuck it up anymore, I found a way to fuck it up. So, to all the guys watching this, I fucking apologise for the shit internet, the muting myself and dropping out the stream. So, it's... as I said, it wouldn't be a Las Let Loose production without fucking technical difficulties. So enjoy it. I hope it's. I hope you can salvage something from it.
If I could just put a question out there, if that's all right, Crispy.
Yeah, fire away, mate.
And it's mainly to the three of you. So first of all, congratulations to all three of you on the near eve of what I would personally see as quite a successful inaugural PAV Cup. Now, my question is, I've talked to a few people in game. Where do we see this growing from here? And I'm sorry to put you all on the spot. I know you got your plans and all that kind of stuff, but to all the viewers, which I think, to be quite frankly, is not lacking any creativity whatsoever. Is there any hint to what you're planning on in the future? And I'm sorry to all three of you,
No,
because
no.
I know this is putting you on the spot, and I do apologise, and I'm probably expecting a shot to the head for this question, but if you may.
No. Can I jump in, just sort of as El Presidente, just see if the CEO lets me get away with this, Crispy. Can I just say, Whaley, just wait for the next podcast. I've organised a meeting with the boys that we're gonna have a catch up through the week. I've got a few ideas that
We're having a spa night at Frankie's.
Yeah. I've got a few
Pants optional.
things. I've got a few things, Whaley. So
can we have a non-AI shot of the spa night for that?
No.
Oh.
But look, there's plans in the works that I want to talk to the boys about. Thinking about, making a lads let loose network, if that's enough of a spicy treat for you. So we'll talk more about that through the week, and you'll hear it on the podcast, boys. Hopefully that's not too much of a dodgy answer.
One thing I want to say in regards to it. Sorry, you go, Whale. Go ahead, brother.
No, I just want to say thanks in advance, and honest to God, on the eve of the final game, personally, I think this is probably for me personally, has been one of the most enjoyable leagues that I've been part of. The banter's been great in game, and we haven't had the usual politics that come along with it. So, to all three of you that have created this, and the Brains Trust, if I may call it, behind it, congratulations. Well done. Thank you. You've done good towards the game.
Nah, thanks, Wales. That means a lot.
Before Odyssey jumps in, it's not just Crispy and Heelsy and I. It's Lobby as well, and it's Hacksaw and Johnny as well. I think we're going to bring him into the fold, and a few other boys. So we'll talk about that through the week. But Whaley, that means the world. And Friday night was a fucking shit show, and there's been some other silly things going on. But at the end of the day, getting feedback like that's what it's all about. What were you going to say, Oddy?
Well, Pucks is going to seem like I'm oiling you up now after fucking what Wales said, but
sorry, mate.
It's all good, brother. No, I think what Pav Cup offers is unique amongst the competitions that I've been a part of as part of the 11th, TFMC and Summit. I wasn't a fan of the shorter format in general prior to the Pav Cup. I do like it now. I still think maybe a longer season, perhaps with some more teams, make it even more interesting. But what you guys have offered and what you've done in such a short amount of time, and the work behind it, is fucking phenomenal. I think, as I said, it's unique in the coverage of it is the best that I've seen on the console scene. It's a great thing to be a part of, even just to get on here and commentary and just see the games live, and even just watching the matches back. It's fucking awesome. I think it brings the community together. All the teams, all the people, you get to mix with different people that you otherwise probably wouldn't. I think a lot of the people just in the community that, maybe even new players really enjoy it too, as we've seen, we're averaging between 1,000 and 2,000 people per video you guys are uploading. So it's pretty good. And yeah, thanks heaps for what you have done, and looking forward to what eventually, the future of it.
Great.
Yeah, it's one hell of a creative void, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Can I say one thing? Are you guys allowed to get rid of Frank and put Rum there? Because Rum said some smart stuff. Frank, I get a headache.
He hasn't said a word.
I was just about to ask, where's Pharaoh? There he is.
I was just waiting. I just have to wait. You know me, bro. I just wait. How many kills you get,
mate.
Frank? 7?
43 tonight. You're fucking. You're five.
That's not bad.
You're five.
I'm gonna beat you.
Getting kills. He couldn't fucking shoot straight if his life depended on it.
No, I can when he's team killing.
We're going to talk longer than the fucking matches lasted at this rate, boys.
No, you'll talk longer than we've seen. Half the match, Crispy was out.
That's what I just said, you fucking idiot.
No, you said the game was, not the game that we saw.
Oh, fuck
Oh,
me,
fuck me.
dude.
Yep.
Well,
Chris,
yeah.
was,
Should we? I think we'll wrap it up there. Yeah, boys. We've appreciate all the feedback we've had and the nice comments. It's definitely made it worthwhile. Don't watch this video, boys, because I fucked it up. But the others have been pretty good. Basically, anyone that's been in charge but me has done a good job. Hacks, Wampy, they've got the most views, more than me. So well done, boys. But nah, honestly, it's been. I've loved every minute of this Pav Cup, and I think as Frank's alluded to, hopefully next year or next season we're going to have more teams. It's going to go longer, and from me, I've absolutely loved it. But what about you, Frank and Hilsey and Lobby? We'll go Frank first.
You go Hilsey. No, go Hilsey.
I think for me, and it's been sort of echoed by a couple of people, it's just around, and I think this is what our original goal was, which was just to bring the oceanic community together. And you do go back, you don't have to go back too far, but you only go back a couple of months. And I didn't know who some of the personalities were, but you would hear stuff from other people and you would form an impression that was not correct. And I think that was the same across all clans of how they saw other clans. But now that's all changed because we've all sort of opened up the streams, we've opened up the commentary, we've opened up talking to each other, and there's a lot of shared love and mutual respect between all the clans now because we know we're all filled with really great people that want to grow the community and make sure that anyone that's part of any of the respective clans is looked after and treated with respect. So I'm really grateful for that.
It certainly does. Like ever since this has been brought into existence, that we've certainly got the sibling relationship going on, where we fundamentally actually, I think, down to the T-bone, actually have a bit of respect and quite a bit of affection for each other, just given by the kinship. But by fuck, we're not going to give each other an inch on the battlefield. And I personally, for someone who's sort of outside this whole thing historically, I think that's quite admirable. We're all of us have formed some good friendships out of this. I like that.
Indeed. Well, the analogy that we used, Frankie, was the Ashes, and you're finishing a test match, and you battle it out on that pitch for the time that you're at war with each other, and then afterwards we're all in the change rooms having a beer together. I think that's what it's about.
Yeah, bloody oath. And if I tell you what, if I was in Adelaide or Perth right now, I'd be straight in there with Rummy and Heelsey, getting a couple of 36% cans out and having a good chat about everything. And it's been awesome.
That was a grind, that match.
It was just like, I don't know if you two were there when I first started talking, but I said I wanted to change tact, and I just threw all the credit to you. I didn't even talk about TFMC until Oddie asked me about it. It was just fun, and that's what it is all about: bringing the boys together and celebrating, the PAV and celebrating each other, and fucking one day, very soon, an Oceanic team's going to win one of these other comps, and you know what, we're all going to come together and say, fuck yeah, boys, that was us. We started that movement. We're all going to cheer on each other now, rather than saying, oh yeah, they fucking cheat, or oh yeah, we've got aspersions about them, like Hilsey was saying. There's none of that anymore. We've cut that out. We all know who each other are now. We know who the personalities are, and things are just going to get fucking better and better.
And yet you're not wrong, Frankie. You're not wrong, Frankie. I look forward to the follow-on discussion about that when you're not the moderator and you're still on holiday in the general chat about the Pav Cup.
Yeah, boys, that's it. Lobby, you want to say anything to that as well?
It's worth noting. It's worth noting, Crispy. You can fix this video.
I can fix it.
You have all the unlisted streams. All you have to do is start them all again and get them to commentate it all over again.
Happy Saturday night!
And then you just add this bit of us.
As a New Zealander, which I'm pretty sure I'm the only one in the group here, on this Australia Day, I recognise that we cannot mention the C word. and I'm pretty sure that Frank will appreciate that.
Hey, wait. When you say the C word, when you say the C word, do you mean cunt? And if you say if it's not cunt, then what are you talking about?
Fuck, I'm pretty sure I said it 3 times on tonight's stream.
In the video.
I didn't say anything else. Nothing whatsoever.
You're not the only New Zealander. We've got Johnny here as well with you, mate. He's one of your Kiwi brothers.
Oh, hey, Johnny. Should link up.
G'day, mate. Yeah, maybe one day.
There we go.
Well, boys, I think that's a wrap for round 3, match 1. Yes, mate.
Just before we go, just really looking forward to tomorrow. And I always feel bad when I pay out on Pharaoh. So Pharaoh, really looking forward to your match tomorrow, your last one. You know, not like you're not saying goodbye. It's just, you know, see you soon. So really looking forward to calling that with Heelsy and the boys tomorrow. I wasn't sure I was going to get there, but the more I thought about it, I had to be there for you, mate. You do mean a lot to me, Pharaoh. So I'm looking forward to commentating that match tomorrow, mate. And thank you for streaming in advance. And hopefully it all goes well for both teams.
I'll make sure my internet's good, boys.
Yeah, mine too.
Well, boys, I've copped enough shit tonight, so I think I'm going to wrap that one up.
Wait, one more, Crispy. You're not playing tomorrow. I'm just taking you out because of the internet. I'm sorry, bro.
Well, boys, thanks to all of our streamers for giving up your time and not featuring in the video. Thanks to all the boys that gave up their time tonight to commentate and won't feature in the video. Again, thanks a lot, boys. It means a lot, and we'll see you for the final game tomorrow as the 11th take on the 6. Cheers, boys. Take care.